All right, for this first round, you're just gonna need your mat or a step and maybe one heavy weight. The first thing we're gonna do is the hip abduction. So if you got a step or something, kneel on, use that. So we're just gonna do leg lifts. You can also be on the floor on a mat, just to rest your head down on your right hand or all the way down on your right arm, and then you put your left arm in front when you're doing your left leg. Hold your foot flexed, toe higher than the heel. Nice strong side of the foot. Make sure the foot's not drooping. Down slow and up just above hip height, and down slow. Do at least 12 and up to 20 till it starts becoming a real challenge to keep the legs straight on the top. The bottom knee is bent or straight. If you're lying all the way down, you can do either. So that's about 20 here. Down slow and switch sides. So you lie all the way down or turn if you've got a step. Top hip rolled forward, nice strong side of the foot. No higher than hip height. Try to keep your knees straight on the leg that you're lifting. Top hip rolled forward. And almost touch the bottom leg. Couple more. And rest. All right, next thing that we're gonna do is a plank. So you can be on your mat. I'm gonna add a little leg lift to it. So start with the knees under the hips directly, hands directly into the shoulders. One leg back nice and long, then the other one. And you're gonna alternate, lift one leg up 4 to 6 inches and back down. If you can't lift, you can just hold the plank. Try to do 8 to 10 lifts per side. To 6. Squeeze the glutes as you lift, but keep your head out in front. And take a break. Next up, we'll do some bridges. So you can just lie down on your mat is fine. If you have a Bosu or something, you can lie on that. Line your heels up right behind your knees. Head down. If you've got a ring or a weight, you can put the ring in between your knees, or you can put the weight on your lap. Feet about hip distance, hands on the hips, and exhale, lift, and back down. So you're making sure you're squeezing your glutes and driving up through your glutes. Toes are down, but feet are hip distance apart. Pause briefly at the top. Down slow, make sure you're pushing evenly through both feet so you feel your hamstrings and your glutes on both sides. Add some holds now, so up and hold. 2, 1, and back down. Squeeze the glutes, hover just above the ground. Drive up, hold 3, 2, and 1, and back down. Hold 3, 2, 1, and back down, up and hold. And back down, up and hold. And back down, and up. And back down, up, hold. And back down, 3, and 2, and 1. All right. Next up, we'll do a wide and a skinny squat. So after the bridges, repeat everything again, doing the hips, then the plank with the leg lift, and then the bridges. And then we're gonna move on to round 2, which is a wide squat and a skinny squat. If you've got the dumbbell, you can Hold it at your chest, wide squat, then a narrow squat, wide squat, toes open, sink down low, and narrow. Again, doing at least 10 of these up to 20. And I take each foot out and each foot back. You could also do 10 where you go out with the right and in, out with the right and in, and then you would do 10 on the left, out with the left, so out and then in, out, keep the weight even, and in. So I take each foot, but you can do one side at a time, doing 10 on each side or 8 on each side. Couple more. Making sure you keep the feet even, the toes turn out so that your knees can actually go out for that wider squat, and forward so your knees stay straight on the inner. Okay, once you've done those, you can do a front and lateral raise. So we're gonna grab weights and we're gonna go front raise. So you're gonna have the seats you can see, raise up in front of your face there. And grab a slightly different weight and tilt this just a little so you can see it better. All right, so you're gonna go front raise, up, block the nose, and exhale, switch, reach, and reach, reach, reach. And if you have a lighter weight like I do, you can actually take both up, forward, or you can stick with one at a time. Keep your knees bent. You can do this seated, just make sure you're seated on the edge of a chair. Heels up, toes down on the floor. And we're gonna do a lateral raise. So if you got a lighter weight, you can go out straight. So knuckles up, wrist turned out, lift and lower, lift and lower, or if you got a heavier weight, you can do a bent arm. So whatever iteration, I'll finish up with these. And just make sure you're lifting your elbows, make sure they stay behind the rib cage and not in front. Stay in your toes so you're not in your neck. And then again, if you want to do the straight arms. And once you've done the front and the lateral raises, we're going to do a side squat with the shoulder press. So for that, tilt back down again. So wide legs, toes slightly open. You're going to hold the weight in your right hand, left hand on the hip. Make sure your feet are even, toes are slightly open. So I'm gonna reach my left hip back and my right hand's gonna go in front of my knee. I'm stretching my inner thigh here, and then I'm gonna stand up, bring the weight up to my shoulder and press. So reach across and then stand up. I'm just gonna show you where the weight should be, right above the shoulder, and then press. So you're not squatting in between, you're just gonna reach, flip, press, reach, flip, press. Step back here so you can see the upper body better. Reach, flip, and press. Still can't see it, sorry about that. Keep going. Reach, flip, press. So I'm just showing the press now. Flip and press, flip and press. Should be about done with this side. Okay, now we'll switch sides, so hold the weight in the left hand, make sure the feet are still even. Then you're gonna reach your right hip back, bring your left hand in front, flip and press. Back, flip and press. flip and press, flip and press. And then just to give you a different view as well, on the side, reach the hip back and flip and press. So some people try to push the knee forward, don't do that. Have a seat, kind of reach your hip back, bending your right knee, flip, press, flip, press, 3 more, flip and press, 2, flip and press, flip and press. All right, so to recap that round, pardon the choppiness with the camera angle changes that were necessary. You're gonna begin with that wide and that narrow squat. So standing wide, toes out, standing narrow. You can either take each leg out and in, or you can step out with one, bring it back in for the narrow, and do 8 to 10 per side if you're gonna separate and squat out separately with just one leg. Then next after that is gonna be that front and lateral raise. So heavy or light weights. If you've got lighter weights, you can probably pull both up in front. If they're a little heavier, you might do one at a time, holding at the top of the dumbbells. And then for the lateral raises, if you have light weights, knuckles up, come out straight across with a straight arm. If they're a little heavier, elbows back behind, lifting laterally up to shoulder height. So working the shoulders on both of those. And then on this third exercise, where you reach across, flip, and press. So showing that again, bending the knee that's opposite of the hand that you're holding the weight in, standing up tall, pressing. So we're stretching the inner thighs, then working the shoulders. After you're done with that, we've got one more round. So on the floor, you're gonna grab your dumbbells and do a chest press. So have a seat. Bring your weights down with you so as to not bother your shoulders. Bring them in close and then press them straight up. Then you're gonna wiggle your shoulder blades together, sink down and press. Down and press. Come down deep, make sure you feel your chest stretch. And up and across, pause at the bottom. And again, holding the weights, but not squeezing with your hands. And letting the heel of the hand be open, pushing up through the heel of the hand, working the chest down and up. And up. And press. And this is the last block we're doing, these last group of exercises. So again, do 10 to 15 of those max. And then we're gonna do some donkey kicks, fire hydrants, and push-ups. Okay, so some hamstring work. So starting with the donkey kicks, make sure your knees are right under your hips, hands right under your shoulders. And then your head's in front of your hands. You want to share weight with whichever leg is still on the ground. And then in between the hands. So I'm going to do my left leg first. So left leg out and up. I've got my foot fairly flexed and I'm kicking out and back. Kicking toward my ceiling. Straightening my leg as I go back. Kicking up, trying to keep my hips down on the ground. And my hands are about shoulder width, if not just a little bit wider, so I can keep my balance between my hands and then my right knee. Feeling this in your glute and hamstring as you kick your heel out and up. Make sure to keep your hips facing down. I want to do about 12 to 20 of these. Again, until you really start feeling like the hip raises in the first round. Should be about 15 there. So we'll switch. You don't need to turn, I'm just turning so you can see. So kicking out and up. Hands under the shoulders. Kick with the heel. Kick out and up. Out and up. And next we're going to do fire hydrants. So I'll start on my right leg that I just finished with. So make sure your knees are directly in your hips. The knees tend to move back on people. So if I were to come up from here, it looks fairly correct, but I'm not going to feel my hip much. If I move my knee in a little bit, I'm going to get a lot more hip. So just make sure you're really at 90, not here, but here, directly into the hip. And again, work hard to counterbalance. So lifting your right leg, you're going to lean onto your left arm more than your right. So think about leaning toward your right arm to try to keep your back flat and your torso straight. And do about 12 to 15 of these. And I'm hovering above the mat, so don't touch the mat. Same thing on these donkey kicks. When you come in, you're hovering above the mat. And other side. So knee directly under the hip. Make sure if the knee's here, it's wrong. If it's here, it's correct. And you'll feel it. You'll feel it a lot more if it's up in the right place. Now I'm doing my left side, so I'm leaning to my right, so I'm trying to counteract that by leaning into my left hand a little bit. Just try to keep my back flat and my torso from twisting too much. Foot is flexed, knee is just suspended right over my mat, just above it. So I keep tension in my hip the whole time. And 2, and 1. Push-ups are next. So either on the knees with the hips below the shoulders, working just on the chest, triceps and shoulders, or of course you can line the knees up under the hips, reaching back long. Okay, that should be 10 to 12 for you at this point. Making sure your hands are even, fingertips turned out. And then a little mountain climber, so knee to chest, either slow or fast. You can put your hands on something if you need to that's above your floor, as long as it's firm and strong and safe. All right, so that was the third round. The chest presses, the donkey kicks, the fire hydrants, the push-ups, and the mountain climbers. All right, have a great workout.